Hello, welcome back, and as you can see we've got most of the cab built, got all the interior done, and what we've done is page 6 basically, all of this section, which is the end of the firebox and the boiler, made the little bits that go into on the inside. So we've got this section, which is M, which is this piece here, as you can see it there. Then we've got this piece, two pieces, O and N, which go together and form this piece here, which is really quite delicate. There's a lot of little bits on there, as you can see, and that I haven't put in because all this has to be painted yet, and if I put that in at the side where it's supposed to go there, then I'm going to leave all sorts of shadows on the panel at the front, so I'm not putting that in yet. And likewise with this piece that goes from the top here down to the same place in the floor. All little gauges are in there, and I've got some brass coloured paint which will paint around the sides of because most of them would be brass, around the sides of the dials and the gauges, and then just a flat white on the inside as it says on the instructions. One little piece of PE, you can just about see it down there in here, and that's about it. The firebox, disappointingly, doesn't open. I thought that would open, but now that I'll look at it, it's solid on the back here, it's solid on the inside, so it's not going to, is it? My intention originally was to leave that open and put an LED in there, a flashing LED, or not necessarily a flashing LED, a slowly blinking LED to represent the fire on the inside, but it would be a huge amount of work, and it's got a real potential for going wrong to cut that open and then cut a hole in the back of this panel, the back of the boiler there, to facilitate the LED. There's no space at the bottom, there's no space at the top. Foot pedals on the floor there, there's some of the detail there. There's a lot of detail missing. These gauges don't have any, oh sorry, you can't really see them. These gauges don't have any pipework coming off the bottom of them, just bolted on. So normally there would be pipework coming off the back of that. Again, I was going to put it on, but I don't know where to put it to. I'm not an expert on steam trains, so it just have to stay off. To be fair, once it's all put together again, you're not going to see much inside it anyway. These are water gauges, although they don't show it now. When they're painted, they'll be painted with brass on the uprights. Can we see it? Yeah, we can. Yeah. So these uprights here will be brass, as they would be made in real life, and maybe a green or a blue to represent the water. But that piece in the middle there between the two uprights would be glass, and there would be a sight gauge in there to show where the water level is in the boiler, and you've got a tap at the top and at the bottom to isolate it if you break it, and then you can change it. So that one's actually got the pipework coming off it, and that one. There's another two gauges here, but again no pipework coming off the bottom. You can just see on the bottom of that one, I'm going to clean it off later, I didn't see it, and you can just see a bit of the flash on the bottom there, but every part of this kit has got flash on it, the seams where they've moulded it, you can see them on all of them. It's only when I put it on close up on the video here that I've seen it. The gauges are really quite intricate. You can see the markings in there that have been moulded into them. However, when you paint it, you won't see them, they'll have gone, and you can't leave them not painted, that would be madness. As I say, I've not put the pipework in on this side because it would leave shadows on the back wall, so I'll paint it separately and then put it on. Likewise, there's nothing goes on this side, so but it should paint easily. And I've left all the glass out, although the instructions say to put it in now. Left all the glass out because I'll paint the inside of the frame. Just going to paint the whole of the inside of the cab, and then I'll put the glass in and mask it out on the outside for when it's painted. The doors are in. Let me put this down for a second. And with all this kit, you seem to have to go back and forth in the instructions to see what you're going to put in. So I've got the cab put together. As I say, I haven't put any of the glass in. I've put the firebox and the end of the boiler in onto the wall. Made all these little pipes up. And we move on to the next page. And I've put the doors in, but no glass. I've not put the end piece on. We'll come to that again in a minute. I've not put the PE side pieces on here. And there's also some glass that goes on the side so that you can get a view out the side of the cab. It then goes, oh sorry, we put the sun, it's not sunlight, it's a vent at the top, it's open at the back, and it vents the hot air out. I haven't put that in, P5, which is the light that goes in the cab. I'll show you why in a second or two. And on forward, it goes on then to building the boiler all the way along, and then it comes back to putting little bits on the cab, which seems a bit strange to me, but there you go. So that's not really going to help us at the moment. So none of that has been done, and it'll be done after it's been painted. I removed the light from the kit light, and I've put an LED in there and routed the wire around. When I paint that, then it will disappear. Every electrical outlet has to have some wire, so it will look perfectly natural. And when it goes in to into the cab, the wires will go down into that corner there, and they'll be painted black. They will just look like a couple of wires or pipes out through the bottom, and then the battery kit will be underneath the tracks. So when it's sat on the tracks, the batteries will be underneath the tracks. As I say, that is open at the back, that vent, and it would let the heat out. It would get very, very hot on that foot plate, I would imagine. As I've mentioned on this kit before, there's a huge amount of injection pins going through it, and some of these were really quite deep. They're easy enough to fill in and sand off, but it's painstaking work. It takes a while. As you can see on the roof as well, these on the roof were really very deep, so they've been sanded off, and even in this piece here there's 4 in there. It's really quite a lot, isn't it? So I've got those. What else have we got now? As you can see on the inside of the cab, there are many pinholes. On the insides of the doors, there's a lot. That's the same, it repeats on the other side. Underneath, on the floor, there's again, these were really very deep, these ones. It seems as though somebody in the factory where it's been built has taken some of the flash off it. There are signs where it's been sanded off, but of course they're not gonna fill it. So it takes some time. I might have mentioned that I started using milliput for the filler, and it does a much better job. It takes a long while to dry. It takes about 4 or 5 hours to dry, but it doesn't leave that shallow dent that you've got to go back and fill again. It really quite good stuff. I'm happy with that. A little light. I left the battery out so we can see it. There's no point having a light you can't see, is there? And he said trying to pick the wire up, and that's all it needs, and that will light the cab up, because all you can see in the cab on this, when the back's on, the back of the cab goes on, and then the roof goes on. You're going to be struggling seeing anything in there, aren't you? So that's why the light's on there. Yeah. So that's that. These are the little seats. It says to paint them all wood brown, but I'm sure that the top of the seat would be black. That would be a cushion of some kind, I imagine. There are a couple of seat backs to go in there yet. I've not decided whether to put them in before I paint it. I'm going to paint the whole of the cab flat black with a primer, and then paint the floor as wooden. I was going to change the floor to a wooden floor, but I don't think it's worth it because it's quite a nice grain on that. You know, it's almost realistic, isn't it? Get a bit of colour on it and a bit of black around here where the coal's been spilt and trodden in. That should look quite nice. I've got some copper paint, metallic copper paint. I'll paint some of the pipework in copper. This one in particular, that one would be a copper pipe. And that is about where we're up to with that, you know. This here at the side is like a glove box pocket in your car, but it's a pocket for tools. I've seen that before when I've been in railway museums, and I was debating whether to get some 135 spanners and hammers to put in there. I've not decided yet. I might do, but it'd be a nice touch, wouldn't it? Put some tools in there. But again, you're not going to see much inside this. That's where I'm up to. And painting time now. When I've painted it, I'll make another video and I'll show you what it looks like. As I say, all of the cab on the inside, flat black, matte black. And it should take a good while to detail that out with all the gauges and nooks and crannies in there. Any questions, any comments, please leave them in the boxes below. And thank you very much for watching. It'd be great if you could subscribe. I'll see you next time. Ta-da!